Good morning and welcome to Paul T's World on this glorious January day in, well, actually it's the Caribbean. I don't actually do much gardening in January and February in England. I tend to want to travel to slightly warmer climes. And here we are in the first week of March, back in northwest England, just near the coast in Zone 9A. It's 9 degrees centigrade, 48 Fahrenheit, and the winter has been, well, I don't know, because I wasn't here. In this video, we're going to tour the garden and see what is in flower, the work I need to do as soon as possible, obviously weeding and pruning. There are clematis to check and to cut back right now. We'll be having a look at those, as well as the various hydrangeas, and see how they did over winter. And there are also various plants that have self-sown that I want to dig up and move. And last but not least, we'll go into the house and see how the houseplants have done over the winter and how I left them. The candy tuft, of which I have many, are starting to flower. They're going to look gorgeous in a month or two, covered in white. And here we have the hardy fuchsia. And I notice now that there's no leaves on that I've actually got two, and I would imagine that this one was self-sown. It's been growing well for a number of years. I'm thinking of digging that out, so I've only got the one large one there. And I've also seen that a third one has started here, so I think I want to get rid of that one. Well, when I say get rid of it, dig it up and pot it somewhere. So those are the gorgeous flamingo hardy fuchsia. I can see there's some buds just starting now, just there. All sorts of things happening at this time of the year. We're in the front garden and just passing one of the lace cap hydrangeas. I don't prune this back at all in the autumn or winter. I wait until these gorgeous buds start. Let's just see if we can focus on these buds. There we are. And I can just prune it back to here, and here back to a nice strong bud, probably next month, or when the weather starts to warm up a little bit. So that's one of the hydrangeas actually. Let's just have a look at the other two. Well, here's one of the big ones. I don't deadhead them in the autumn, just leave them as they are. So if you're in a new garden and you have plants, hydrangeas, and you don't know what they are, well, you can have a look at them now, and if they have these lovely buds at this time of the year in England, then you know they are either mophead or lace cap hydrangeas. Once the weather is over 10 degrees centigrade each day on average, I'll then prune them back to a nice strong bud, either here or here or here, depending on how tall you want the plant. And in fact, I'll just move over now to the other hydrangeas. And these are all the paniculatas. And as you can see, the paniculatas haven't got their buds yet. They're hardly showing. And they will flower on new wood. So at some stage, which is now, I can cut these right back. So here, I'll probably cut them back to here, maybe to here. But what's quite important to know is that the more you prune them back in early spring, the bigger the blooms will be. If you leave them and don't prune them back very much, the flowers will get progressively smaller. Here's a little quick fire. Goes lovely red in autumn, this one. And as you can see, this particular bed, I've got azaleas bordering the bed in front of the hydrangeas. All these hydrangeas are paniculatas. This one's an oak leaf hydrangea. Really starting to put on some growth in the summer. It looks magnificent, that one. If you can pick up the sound of those birds, they're magpies flying over the garden. Now let's go and have a look at those clematis that I was talking about. Now, because I've been away and also I pulled a muscle in my back, I'm getting all these excuses in for not having done the weeding and tending the garden very much this year. But I'm going to show you these borders. This is warts and all, how it looks right now. So this is what I call the road bed. So this is alongside the road. I've got lots of evergreen shrubs along this border because the road is just the other side of the privet hedge, and it's nice to block out all the cars and the pollution. Unfortunately, as I've mentioned before, vegetation doesn't block noise very well. So what have I got in this border? The first thing I'm going to look at are these clematis. They are pruning group C clematis. And now is the time to prune them back. In fact, I think I'm a little late. Look at this. Can you see the growth there? Look at that. So, another bud here. So I'm going to, and just up here. So I'm going to cut these back right here. So these buds down here, so that the plant starts with the buds quite low. So I'm going to pull through all last year's growth, which is going right up there. And in fact, look, I'm going to pull this down right now so you can see why I'm a little bit late. See, there are buds right up here, but I want the plant to start growing from down below. This is pruning group 3. They will grow from here all the way up this hawthorn tree this year and will flower in late summer. So I need to do that as soon as possible. Down here we've got a little brunnera. I love these brunnera. There we are, the leaves, new leaves are just starting, so it's time really. Depending how your frosts are, if you have frosts, maybe just leave the old vegetation a bit longer. But once the frosts stop, then just clean it all up and then you end up with this lovely new growth. So that's that brunnera. What else have we got here? Oh, I split it last year, and here is another example of it. Oh, and here there's a little foxglove, so I'll move him and put him somewhere else. Here's a weed, another weed, and we've got some little daffodils in flower. I planted these ajuga last year, got them from my sister. They've started to grow quite well, really. Need all cleaning up. Oh, and I'll tell you what I think this is. That looks like a forget-me-not. I'll probably leave it there because it'll have all these lovely blue flowers in the spring. Oh, and here's something else. Here's an ivy. Let's pull this ivy out. Oh, and here's another of these pruning group 3 clematises here. That's this one here. So I need to sort that out the same as the other one. The climbing rose is here. It's not a climbing rose, it's a rambling rose, and it rambles right up the hawthorn tree. So we don't want to prune that yet. We want to wait till it flowers in the spring and summer and then prune it back as soon as it's flowered. And at the front of the border, this is a lilac. Buds are coming along nicely. It's starting to grow forward a little bit and getting in the way of the cars. So after that's flowered, I'll cut that right back. And what is in flower? Well, we've got hellebores. See if I can gently move through to have a look at these hellebores. There we are. Little white hellebores. This sort of wild area here has a number of hellebores. They self-sow, so they're under the rhododendrons. So at this time of the year when they're flowering, you can actually cut the large leaves back to show the flowers better. Oh, and is that a bee? Have we got a bee there? I think there's a bee in there. Yeah, it is. It's a little. Is it a honeybee? Let's see if he comes out. He's just enjoying the pollen. So there's one of the useful things about hellebores. There we are. Now, is he in this one now? It provides the bees with some really early pollen. Oh yeah, he likes that. So that's quite nice, really. You can split these yourself or just let them self-seed around the garden. Peonies are starting to show now. I always leave the supports here all the time, really. So I cut these back in November. I scattered some bone meal around, cut them back, and then that's it, sorted for the year. There's a large foxglove there. I think that's going to be moved. I'll possibly put them all together. We've got some winter damage here. I cut this viburnum back quite a lot. I was going to cloud prune it, which I kind of did. And look what's happened. Because the viburnum is evergreen, when you get the winter winds, it can catch those winds, and look what's happened. It's actually split here, unfortunately. Look at that. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with this. If I cut it back, I wonder if it would grow again. Oh well, you win some and you lose some. My little area of penstemons. Now in November, I cut these back by half, purely so the winds wouldn't totally flatten them. I don't know whether it's getting a little late now or not, but I'm going to cut these virtually down to the ground, and I need to get on with that as soon as possible. They'll then grow straight back up, nice and strong, and flower in the summer. This is my earliest flowering rhododendron. It'll be in full flower in a couple of weeks or so, depending on the weather. Totally white. And then after it's flowered, the other rhododendron, that's this one, will then take over. So I've got a succession of flowers with these rhododendrons. This is a fairly new rhododendron. I planted just a few years ago, and it's so reliable. Look at all those buds. It's going to flower gorgeously this year, as is the lace cap. This is the Zorro, just next to it here. Again, I'll deadhead it in a week or two. I think we've had our last frost now, so I can probably get on with all sorts of things. Oh, and just behind, we've got the rhubarb. I could do with digging that up and reburying it, splitting it and reburying it. I'll probably do that next year. And now we're in the back garden. This is the other pruning group 3 clematis I've got. This is the Bill Mackenzie. I've already cut it back because I don't like it not pruned back for the winter. Don't want it scraping up and down the wall. And you can just about make out, let's see if we can see here, the buds are just starting there. It'll rocket along in the next few weeks and grow right up the wall and flower with those lovely little yellow bells. The snowdrops have been in flower for a month or so. They self-seed, thicken up, and indeed what you can do once they've finished flowering is you can dig them up and pop them somewhere else, which is exactly what I did here. There we are. So the last year or two, when they're in the green, which is they're still green, but the flowers have finished, you can just dig up little clumps, divide them up, and then pop them somewhere else. The Mahonia has just finished its winter flowering. It's quite a vigorous plant, these Mahonia. So what you can do, if they start encroaching into other areas, just literally cut them right off here, right back, and they'll grow again. I have trail cameras out in the garden all the time to capture the birds and the wildlife at night and during the day. And at the moment, I'm just doing a project on putting apples out and seeing what comes to enjoy the apples. If you'd like to see that video and other videos of the wildlife and the robin in the garden, check out my other channel, which is called Paul T Reviews. I've got a link to it in the description below, and I'd really appreciate extra subscribers for that one as I'm trying to get it going. I was just round at my sister's garden yesterday and I noticed she has got some problems with a couple of plants, and I've got the same here. These are Sweet William. Now, can you see how it's mounded up? The soil has been brought up to the plants. The plants are not looking good. They didn't look good last year, and this is ants. So I've got sandy soil, and ants love sandy soil. So what I'm going to have to do here with these Sweet William, which used to look great a few years ago, they're part of the plug plants there. You'll see the videos of about 3 years ago of when I bought all those plug plants. And I'm going to have to dig all these up, put some fresh compost down, nice, good, thick compost that ants, or these are red ants, don't like. So that's what I'm going to have to do here. In fact, I've got a lot of digging out to do. Plants seem to do better once you've split them, particularly the perennials, of course, and replanted them in some nice soil. So have a look at these here. First of all, the phlomis, the, Turkish sage. It's really getting going now. I could do with digging those up, splitting them, and perhaps spreading them out a little bit as they're getting congested. And these are the Doronicum. Oh, these looked fabulous for the first 2 years, really. These were also part of those plug plants that I bought, and they looked fabulous. In fact, there's just a little flower starting now. They flower early, but these seem to flower through the summer. Lovely, yellow, joyful flowers. But I think these all need digging up. Here's some more here. Oh, just look at the state of this. I've got so much work to do. Replant them, and I am sure that they will then do brilliantly, as they did a few years ago. Here's the dogwood with its lovely fiery red stems. Now what I need to do, and I didn't do it last year, is why don't I, in the spring, cut this back down to the ground so these stems will grow up again nice and strong. And also, maybe I'm a bit late, but these actually do well from cuttings, hardwood cuttings. Possibly I'm a bit late at the moment because they've started to sprout. Because I could do with a little show of these for some winter brightness. That banana that did so well the first year. It's a hardy banana. It's called Musa Baju. It should be root hardy down to about -10 centigrade. I don't do anything with it. I don't mulch it. I do nothing. And it will grow little pups. In fact, there was a pup down there. In fact, it had 3 pups, and I'm sure it'll sprout 3 again this year. If I fed it a little bit more and maybe watered it, perhaps it'll be as big as it was the first year, which is about 6 foot high. The Tetrapanax that I've got, here's the main one. It's looking a bit sorry for itself, isn't it? Look at that. It'll be fine. It'll then sprout from here. And it has produced a pop down here. Which is quite nice. Last year I built 2 large compost bins out of pallets. I've lined them so they won't rot quite so quickly. And I've also got a trail camera there, checking what happens and what likes to visit the compost heap. Here I've got my 2 leaf mould bins. And in fact, I've still got leaf mould from last year. Let's just have a look. Here we are. There we are. There's a leaf mould. Nice little place for all the wood lice. Lovely. I love leaf mould and compost. And what I need to do is to mulch my garden with this compost. Obviously the top part isn't ready yet, but about a foot down it'll be perfect compost. Now here we have the clivia. Now it was fairly happy because it started to flower now, send up a flower shoot. I took them out of their pots, took them out of their decorative pots and popped them in a saucer. So I put about 2 inches of water in these saucers. Now in fact let's just have a look and see if this one is sending up any flower shoots. Oh, and it is. Look at this. There we are, flower shoot coming. Superb. And in fact, over the last year or 2, it's sent up a young one here. It seems quite attached down here, but I'm going to take it out of its pot and split those 2. But after they've flowered, I find clivia plants easy, they stay clean, they don't get any insects. Oh, in fact, there we are. See there? There's a new flower spike coming up. Excellent. So that's 1, 2, 3. 3 flower spikes there. Fantastic plant. I'd really recommend them. Just let them dry out, I then take them outside and give them a full watering, soaking, back inside and let them dry out again. That's my regime for all the indoor plants really. There we are. I've now put it back in its decorative pot and it's ready now for the spring and the summer and to flower beautifully. Well, that's brought us up to date with my garden, brought me up to date, having not really been in the garden since last year. So I really enjoyed looking around the garden again, making a video. I hope it was helpful to you, and I'll see you next time in Paul T's World. Bye.